In 1789, the world stood still as France teetered on the edge of destruction. A kingdom once celebrated as the pinnacle of European power was crumbling from within.
Years of famine, mounting debt, and the cries of the starving urban poor created a storm of unrest. The ruling elite, cloaked in luxury, remained oblivious to the suffering outside their gilded halls. The divide between rich and poor had become an unbridgeable chasm. Two sets of laws, one for the privileged and another for the oppressed, could no longer coexist. The tension was unsustainable.
France, once the shining jewel of Europe, now faced collapse. The nation's economy was in shambles, burdened by debt that had been accumulating for decades. Interest payments alone consumed nearly half of the nation's annual revenue, leaving little to fund domestic needs. But amidst this turmoil, the monarchy remained untouched by the devastation sweeping the land. While the people starved, the court at Versailles continued its extravagant existence, spending millions of livres on lavish banquets, fashion, and elaborate entertainments. The growing disparity was a powder keg, waiting for a spark. That spark was about to ignite one of the most transformative revolutions in history. On June 17, 1789, Louis denied the acceptance for the demand of one man, one vote policy. In a nation amid swear chaos and poverty, the Third Estate rejected the stance of Louis and on their own established the National Assembly. But Louis retaliated and ordered the army to disband the National Assembly. This act became the flashing point for the beginning of the end of French monarchy. The revolution, which was on its way, started happening, as the bloodiest revolution in the history of mankind. And this is the story of the happenings in French Revolution.
While France starved, the monarchy remained willfully ignorant of the people's plight. The Queen, Marie Antoinette, became the face of this indifference. When told that the peasants had no bread to eat, she is said to have responded coldly, "Let them eat cake."
The Estates General, called in desperation by Louis XVI, sought to resolve the financial crisis, but instead it exposed the fault lines dividing France. The Third Estate, representing the common people, demanded change, an end to the monarchy's control. This mirrors the demands of the marginalized in today's societies, where calls for justice echo from those oppressed by feudal-like systems.
If you're moved by these stories of revolution and change, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Hit the like button if you believe in the power of history to shape our future, and drop a comment below. What moment from the revolution inspires you the most? Your voice is part of this conversation. Let's keep history alive, together.
On July 14, 1789, the people of Paris struck a decisive blow. The Bastille, a fortress symbolizing the monarchy's tyranny, became the focal point of their anger.
By October, the people's anger reached its boiling point. Thousands of women, desperate for food, marched to Versailles. They stormed the palace, forcing the king and queen to return to Paris as prisoners of the revolution. But the fall of the monarchy was not just the work of the angry crowds. It was also orchestrated from within. Maximilien Robespierre, once a provincial lawyer, had become one of the revolution's most powerful voices. Known as the Incorruptible, Robespierre was a champion of the people's cause, relentlessly pushing for the monarchy's end.
Robespierre believed that the monarchy could not coexist with liberty. He argued that Louis XVI must be held accountable for the suffering he had allowed, and with his passionate oratory, he rallied the people and the National Assembly against the king. It was Robespierre who pushed for the trial of Louis XVI, and when the time came, he stood as one of the king's most vocal accusers. In January 1793, Louis XVI was executed. fallen, and with it, the world of kings and empires had been challenged. Robespierre's vision of a republic had come to pass, but the revolution had only just begun. Marie Antoinette, once the Queen of France, found herself imprisoned. Her gilded life at Versailles was over. The same people who once adored her now saw her as a symbol of oppression. Marie Antoinette's life had always been one of excess and grandeur. She was the queen of fashion and indulgence, but the revolutionaries now saw her as the embodiment of everything wrong with the monarchy. Her foreign birth, her extravagant spending, and her perceived indifference to the suffering of the people made her an easy target.
Let them eat cake.
In October 1793, Marie Antoinette was tried for high treason by the Revolutionary Tribunal. Her fate had been sealed long before the trial began. The charges, which included conspiring with foreign powers and draining France's coffers, were enough to condemn her in the eyes of the revolution.
On October 16, 1793, Marie Antoinette was led to the guillotine. Once the most powerful woman in France, she now faced the same fate as countless others during the Revolution. As she stood before the blade, she offered no final words of defiance. With her execution, the monarchy's final symbol of excess was destroyed.
Out of the ashes of the revolution rose a new leader, Napoleon Bonaparte. A military genius, he seized power, bringing an end to the years of instability. France, weary of bloodshed, now turned to him as its new hope.
The revolution had reshaped France, but at a cost few could have imagined. The monarchy had fallen, but so too had countless lives. The ideals of liberty, equality, and fraternity still burned bright, but the path to a truly free nation would be long and treacherous. In the end, the revolution was not the end of tyranny, but the beginning of a new chapter.
The French Revolution may have ended, but its impact lives on, echoing through history and inspiring movements for justice and equality even today. But the story doesn't stop here. To uncover more untold histories, to explore the world-changing events that shaped our present, and to continue learning about the forces that drive revolution and change, subscribe now. Join us by sharing your comments on this journey through time, where past and present collide, and where history's lessons shape our future.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people.